Okay, so now let's start decoding a topographic map. This is going to be a practical session. So one nice thing about Google Maps is that I can create my own maps here. I can go to My Places, I can create a new map, right? And I can start kind of putting markers on this map. My first topographic map. So let me save this. So all these maps, by the way, will be stored. I've created lots of maps throughout the years. Kind of decoding various mountain ranges. So our first topographic map, yeah. So let's go to this one now. Let's maximize the screen a little. Let's zoom in a little bit. I think somebody is calling again. Android. Okay, so let's go again to the western entry. So first of all, let's plot a couple of peaks. I got two markers here. I got what we call a waypoint and points that I can identify on the map, right? Whenever I used to go in the old days trekking in these places, I used to kind of put some markers to identify key points in the map, like peaks and like certain vertical drops, certain like villages nearby or trails on to which I can reach the place. So like I can, once I put these points, these markers, as well as these trails, I can draw lines on top of this to kind of follow streams and ridges and other places and roads and jeep trails. Once I put all these markers, these waypoints and these tracks on my map, I will show you a way how you can kind of download these points into like what we call a GPX file, a text file, which can then be used in any GPS of any manufacturer or any mapping program. So you can play around with those places. Right, so say we want to do some trekking in Nagalappuram. So first of all, of course, we want to put some references here. When I zoom in at the highest level, I can clearly see the peaks popping up. Right, so here I got a peak at which altitude? 800? Yeah, close to 800, I guess. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on naming. I'll just put the things there. So here we have another peak. This peak is around, again, 780, close to 800, I guess. So again, remember you're always looking at the macro view. In many cases, indeed, it's a little like 10, 20 meter higher. This peaks will be wonderful. Why? You get an awesome view from this peak. You can see that 270 degrees around you, either to the right, to the west, to the south, and especially to the east here. It's like very steep. So you're gonna be on top of like a vertical drop and gonna get an amazing viewpoint. This is the western peak through which we have climbed a couple of times. So then a bit further inside, again, I see a 760 meter peak here, right? I see a concentric circle. Any way I start walking away from this point, I start cutting topo lines which are lower. I go towards 700 meter at all the sides. If I get stuck on this peak, the easiest way to go down is not on the left side, because you're gonna fall down badly here. You're gonna climb down this way, right? Why? Because topo lines are very wide away, so you're almost gonna walk flat this way. So this is gonna be what we call a ridge. You're gonna walk down till this point, right, where I have a saddle, because here again I'm cutting inside the line. So here again I'm climbing up quite steeply to another peak here, correct? So let me just put a couple to kind of, so here we got another concentric circle at 720 meters. And here is this like central peak, which again has awesome views all around on the interior Nagala. Gone a couple of times to this place. Here again we have a peak which is more flat, a bigger, flatter peak, right? You can see it's a bigger circle. So indeed here it's not going to be perfect flat. There's going to be a lot of trees and boulders and grass there, but it's going to be surface-wise fairly easy to walk around it. And here another peak. Okay, so these are a couple of peaks. So now let me maybe indicate some streams here or some valleys. So I'm gonna use the line tool now. So just follow me, we'll draw a couple of streams so you also get a kind of a feel how you can easily identify the stream. So here, okay, somebody has put a trail here. So here I get into the mountain, right? So I start from the base here. So here it's all flat more or less. I almost have to walk 1.5 kilometers from this line to this line. So 1.5 kilometers to just go up 20 meters. So this is like almost totally flat. So here I finally start reaching the edge of the mountain. So here you can see, right, this is the edge of the mountain. So to get into the mountains, I could either go this way, so I can directly face the contour lines, directly cut through. So basically I'm climbing quite steeply here. Or I can find those places where I can see the contour lines very widely spaced. Those wide places, right, very gradual. So here I'm getting actually very deep inside the mountain range, but I'm still at a very low altitude. I'm still at 200 meter here. Like I can walk very far, and only here I'm at 300 meter. If I would have walked from here to here, I would have reached 300 meter very fast. On the other hand, if I walk through the valley here, through the stream, I can walk very long, very gradual along the stream. I will have drinkable water. I will have an open place to walk. I can walk over boulders. There won't be any vegetation because the water will clear the way. And there will be big trees. There is water nearby. There will be bigger trees, bigger vegetation. So I will be walking in the shade. So that's exactly 4 of the key reasons why we mostly trek along the streams. We got drinkable water. We got shade from this tropical climate. It will be cool. It will be open. There won't be too many thorns and dense bushes around. And very important also, it's a very gradual climate. As you can see, I walked close to 1.9 miles. This is a land mile. 1 land mile equals 1,852 meters. So I walked around nearly 3.5 kilometers here, and I've only climbed from around 170 meter to 500 meters. So I've only climbed for around 230 meter, I guess. And so this is like a very easy walk up. From a macro point of view, right, don't kick my ass, because as people who have gone along this western entry know that there are a couple of very steep drops on the way, which are not visible again on this topographic map, which is of higher scale. So I can gradually go up very slowly here till 600 meters. Look at the distance between 500 and 600. It's almost like 2 kilometers to increase 100 meter in altitude. So here somewhere will be the origin of the stream. Voila. So here you can kind of clearly see, right, this deep cut into the hill is where any rainwater that will fall around this place will basically get drained to this stream. So let me draw some other streams. Again, let me go to the eastern side now. So here again, there will be a dam somewhere. Here there is a dam. Wherever you have a dam, obviously people put dams where a lot of water is coming out of the hill, so there will be some major stream. You can clearly see on the photographic view that there is indeed a big stream coming out. If you look at the scale, say, of 100 meter here, though this stream is quite wide, right? It's at least 10 to 20 meter wide, so must be a lot of water coming out of this place in the monsoon especially. As streams exit the hill, right, obviously they become flat because they basically enter the plains, as you can see. So here the stream runs through the plains. So in many cases the water will disappear there. The water will actually go a little bit underground because the solid rock, you have more muds, more agricultural land there, more mud on top of the solid rock, so water will simply disappear here. So most of the time, until you hit actually the base of the mountain where the stream kind of starts kind of inclining and you will have solid rock coming to the surface, you're not going to find water most of the time. So same thing here, I'm going to enter the mountain in the most easy way. So what I was saying is that as the stream, so if you look at let's follow the stream for a while here. So again, I'm going to kind of go in the mountain range here. I'm not sure if you guys see what I'm seeing, but I'm just basically following the valley here. This is the valley, right? Because if I go right, I climb up. If I go left, I climb up, right? I'm going inside these concentric contour lines. So only when I go forward, I kind of gradually increase in altitude. So you can see that the stream goes left, right. Again, I'm looking at the macro view. If you look at the satellite view a little later to kind of fine-tune this line, you will see that the stream goes in many more smaller lefts and rights. So right here I'm reaching the saddle, the lowest point between two peaks. So this is the highest point from where the stream originates. So this is another major valley or stream that flows through Nagala, where we sometimes trek. So now, I mean, to come back to this question of water, right? So you have a stream here, you have a valley here. Will there be water? You're never sure about that. I will give you several tips how you can kind of determine the probability to find water there. So one of the factors is if you walk along the stream, for example, here, you can see from here up till here, you're only crossing like, I guess, 2-3 topo lines, right? So this is almost a nearly flat section of the stream. So wherever the stream is flat, there is a possibility that actually the water might not be, I mean, at the surface. Water will obviously always be there because water gets drained and water has to flow, exit the hills. But again, I mean, remember, basically this whole mountain range is a solid rock. This is a solid piece of rock. So whatever water falls down on this cannot go in the groundwater. It has to get out. It has to 100% surely get out through one of these streams. So depending where it falls, it will basically get into a valley and drain. But so if you look again at this mountain range, you can see that even though it is solid rock, that there is a layer of vegetation on top of this, right? So at some places there will be like, say, half a meter vegetation, trees, bushes. At some places you will see that it's very open. So some places here, these open patches here, you will have places where you can find solid rock. So where basically you're hitting the rock. So any water that falls down there, you can see flowing. Any water that falls down on more dense vegetation might be getting under the mud, might be getting under the trees, might be absorbed by the trees. So once the rainwater gets into these streams, I mean, let me again go to the terrain view. Once the water gets into this valley, right, so water that falls down here basically will trickle down, cutting the contour lines downwards, will hit the stream, and then it will basically drain here. So typically parts of the stream which are steeper, like here you have close contour lines, here you have a very steep portion, here again you have darkness, you have very closely spaced contour lines, so here you have a steep patch. Those steeper places, typically it will not be easy for trees or rocks to fall down, right, because it's very steep. So typically there you will get like a waterfall effect or like a smooth rock, where the water has to become visible, right? Because nothing is there to flow under. So the water becomes visible there. So it flows down here, the water, you get nice pools, waterfalls. Once you come here, the stream becomes flat. So when the stream is flat, the riverbed is flat, all the rocks which have fallen down from the nearby valleys, from the left side, from the right side, trees, vegetation which have fallen down, mud compost which has formed here, they are covering the riverbed, they are covering the solid rock, so there sometimes the water disappears. In the monsoon the stream will be full of water, but as we do treks towards March, April, May, when it has been like months since the monsoon, since the streams have been refilled, then those flat places are the first places actually to dry up. And that's what I was saying, once the stream exits the hill and it goes totally flat here, it gets exposed to direct sun, and there are paddy fields, there is more boulders and mud on top of this riverbeds, the water will actually disappear. So you always have to be careful in kind of refilling your water bottles, your water reserves, drinking water, at certain places in the stream where the water runs, because suddenly you might be surprised that even though there is a good amount of flow of water, that the water can suddenly disappear as you come to a flat horizontal portion in the stream. Okay, so this was a more specific topic. Let me just save again. And